2024. Need I say more? Well, yeah, I suppose, or that wouldn't even be long enough for a YouTube short. So let's take a look at what is in store for 2024 here at DC's Comics, with a quick glimpse at our 2024 Geek forecast from our favorite franchises and their yearly offerings on both the silver screen and streaming fronts. So let's take a look. Did you catch that? Cool. Moving right along. I'm kidding. Let's slow that down a bit. So we have 25 projects split across the three big franchises. Marvel having 9 of those, followed by DC who have 10, and Star Wars with the remaining 6. This is going to be our best year yet, both personally for all of us and on the content front with all that's coming out. So instead of just sitting here wondering at the Marvel that is 2024, let's take a look at what is in store, starting with Marvel. So we begin with all 5 episodes of Echo, which have already hit our screens when it started streaming on the 9th of January. But our screens weren't the only thing that was hit. Daredevil, Kingpin, and a couple of thugs got their fair share of hits too, as did Marvel with another hit to add to their collection. MadameWeb will then swing into theatres as a Valentine's Day present to us all, and I initially just put that down as a placeholder because I remembered it was a February release.
Yeah, I can't say February.
No, again.
But I confirmed the actual date, and it is quite literally Valentine's Day. I mean, if that doesn't scream romance and isn't the go-to Valentine's Day movie, then I don't know what is. Unless I just don't understand romance. And this project, along with KravenTheHunter later this year, are both additions to and set in Sony's Spider-Man universe that does not contain Spider-Man. Yet. Unless we're counting the SpiderVerse films. Are we counting those? Do they count? And speaking of the SpiderVerse, we may still go beyond the SpiderVerse later this year, but I think that's highly unlikely, and I don't particularly see it meeting its initial release date of the 29th of March. But it remains to be seen what Venom 3 spits out later this year regarding a Spider-Man connection. I also wouldn't mind having MadameWeb's powers to confirm the release dates of a lot of these projects, as most of them are still up in the air for now.
I do not know that answer right now, but I will do everything in my power to get that information for you.
But I will confirm those release dates as they do pop up. Then, moving on to another Spider-Man installment, we have Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. That's it. That's the name of the show. It was previously titled as Spider-Man Freshman Year. And this is one of Marvel's animations this year, and it has a potential November 2nd release date. And from animation to animation, we have the upcoming XMen 97, and the soundtrack that plays through my head at every other moment. The continuation of the original series, which initially ran from 1992 to 1997, offering up its first season, but being a continuation is essentially season 6. And that then feeds well with X-Men content that carries us through to the live action side in Deadpool 3, in which he'll proceed to kill all of the X-Men. So that was short-lived. It does seem this film will play on the comic Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, but instead he'll kill off any lingering ties to Fox's X-Men universe to clear the slate for their MCU debuts. And well, he could also clear out the lingering Council of Kangs as we await news on how Marvel will proceed with that after recent developments. But it remains to be seen what unfolds in this, the only MCU movie release of the year. And this is just like Ryan Reynolds, and this is just like Deadpool to kick every other film off the slate so that he can be the main feature. I don't know why I said it like that. I love Deadpool and I have no problems with that. I love you, Ryan.
If I could find a way.
Then, all eyes moved to Wakanda in the Eyes of Wakanda series, and all this talk of eyes, and yet we cannot see a release date, but only a release window that still falls within this year. And perhaps that release date is hiding behind that magical wall that they shielded themselves from the rest of the world with. And speaking of someone who enjoyed their time behind a wall, there's Agatha and the Darkhold Diaries, and she may conjure up a potential late 2024 release date around September 19th. We then move on to our annual hunting trip with someone who's no stranger to the MCU, Aaron Taylor Johnson, who will portray Sergei Kravenov, aka KravenTheHunter, aiming to finally land a killer blow on a release date and not postpone it again because of all the clouds in the sky, the same thing that keeps putting me off of jogging, with the release date set for August 30th. And no, that's not the day I pick up jogging either. And finally, Venom 3 on 8 November. No, he didn't eat November, though he may eat Peter still, if those teasers after Venom 2 and No Way Home were any indication of where the next film is going. But I don't want to get my hopes up. Sorry, I don't want to get our hopes up. There is still Marvel Zombies, which remains undead, and no news on if it will be an addition to the Marvel slate for 2024, along with Ironheart, which seems to be on the same delay train, and with Marvel's less is more focus on quality over quantity approach, which is well needed. That's okay with us, as we have more than enough to digest this year still. Then, DC are not having as quiet a year as I had initially first thought, with more projects than Marvel set for release this year, though most of the work being done is on prepping and planning the new DCEU that kicks off with Superman Legacy in July of 2025. The first DCEU entry does fall within this year with Creature Commandos, which has no official date but is leaning towards late 2024. So that's the trend for DC this year, mainly animated features with no release dates, thus falling under the most vague and wide blanketed statement in saying they release in 2024. Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1 dropped on the 9th of January, the same day as Echo, and we await the second installment of 3 in this saga, as well as the upcoming Watchmen animated movie. There is the release of the Harley Quinn spin-off show Kite Man. Hell yeah! And potentially another season of Harley Quinn herself arriving later this year, or as fashionably late as she would be, by arriving early next year. There is the upcoming DC anime Suicide Squad Isekai, as well as the animated Aztec Batman Clash of Empires. There is the final season of Superman and Lois, the now concluded Arrowverse spin-off show, and that then leaves our DC live-action entries resigned exclusively to Gotham. With the spin-off series from Robert Pattinson's The Batman, The Penguin, seeing a max release date that is too unconfirmed at this time, but is still set for this year. And then, the only DC movie releasing this year on the silver screen being the sequel to Joker in Joker Folie à Deux. Which means, for the first time in ages, there is no DC movie releasing as part of their greater shared universe, as the DCEU has now concluded with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So, from the Joker teaming up with Harley to another Bad Batch set to arrive in 2024, but from a different franchise entirely. Moving across the galaxy to Star Wars, and the final season of the animated Star Wars show The Bad Batch set for a spring release. Star Wars' other animated offerings for this year include another season of The Incredible Tales of the Jedi, and another season of Star Wars Visions being potentially ready to kick off on Star Wars Day. And then, on the live-action Star Wars front, we have Skeleton Crew, with Jude Law following 4 kids who make a mysterious discovery on their seemingly safe home planet, who then get lost in a strange and dangerous galaxy, with a release date that has consistently been postponed and is now set for this year. Then, The Acolyte is one of the most anticipated projects from the fandom and myself, being described as a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. And my favourite news being the perspective of this show finally being told from the side of the Sith, with an unconfirmed at this time 2024 release. And then finally, the second and final season of the highly acclaimed Andor, which you guessed it, is set for 2024. So I was like, let's get the fans hyped for what's to come this year, but what I have done is confirmed almost none of those dates, and some of those were just speculation. And the only thing I have confirmed is more like a confirmation of projects set for 2024 with no release dates. But that's what they said is coming out, so let's hold them to that, and not me for trying to be informative, of which I was not. But I'm sure you're all better at being heroes than I am, so subscribe to the channel and like this video, and follow us on our social media pages where we keep you updated on a dime.
Next time, baby.
And then I'll see you in the next video where we'll be taking a look at the DCEU, a 10-year venture that led nowhere.
He must be going somewhere.
No, nowhere. It's a place. We've been there. It sucks.
As always, this is the way. Have a great day.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
This is the way.